every Sunday about my spending. And we bought a home for $250,000 that was in the perfect, beautiful Bloomfield Hills area, and all it did was appreciate, not depreciate, appreciate. So by the time we sold it, it was for a lot more money. And then we built another house. And the attorney that I had was the one that kept saying, this Conrad Chapman, kept saying, you need to put the home in a trust in your name in case something happens to Rick, A. And B, you need it for taxes. You need to own the house. Your trust needs to own the house.
The trust needs to own the house. Okay, stop. Set up the trust.
Right.
Who's supposed to benefit from setting this trust up?
Well,
you already had a trust, right?
Well, Conrad Chapman helped me create this trust with Tony Kennedy's guidance. Because Tony Kennedy knew me all my life. He was from Sacramento. We grew up together. He was my support system. You know, I'm in a new area. So between the two of them, they set up the trust for me.
But he's still related to
Sister.
your ex-sister-in-law.
No, my sister, my blood sister.
Oh,
He is related to
he's-
my blood sister. He is my blood sister's brother-in-law.
So he's still your brother-in-law, the Supreme Court Justice.
Yes, he's my second removed brother-in-law. Is that the way you put it? Removed brother-in-law to me.
And the Supreme Court Justice didn't care that all this bad stuff happened to you and is fine with you living out in a tent?
Well, I guess so, because he knows I'm here, I assure you. But, you know, I started calling him in about 2004, I believe. And I haven't heard since. My brother-in-law at the time was still alive, and he said, he doesn't talk to people. He's a justice. I said, well, wait a minute. He was my attorney. I need to talk to him. I need my file.
But this is family business.
Yeah.
This isn't just legal business. This is your personal family business.
Yes. So then Gerard died in 2006, and my family completely has abandoned me. So that means, to me, that means they are part of this. I have no idea how they are, but they don't want anything to do with me. They just soon I die.
Okay, how did you, so at what point did you start losing control of your trust?
Okay. While Rick and I were married, he got very strange over the years. When I married him, he was a normal, outdoorsy, 200-pound, loved to ski. He was very good to me, very kind to me. And over the years, very slowly, he started criticizing me about my spending, because that's what you and I were just talking about a little while ago, is about the, owning the homes in my trusts and so on and so forth. And I did that based on what the attorney said. You need to own the homes. They need to be in your trust so you're protected, blah, 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 blah. So that's exactly what I did. But then Rick would start criticizing me. Oh, you're spending too much money, blah, 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 blah. And I actually started to believe that, because apparently my money manager of Payne Weber, his name was Fred Meerbach, kept saying, well, if you're a really good girl, you'll be worth $10 million one day.
And how much money and what year are we talking about now?
Now we're talking between 1975 and 1997. Okay? Now, I had another money manager in there who I really loved. And he was really good to me, and he was smart, and he never criticized me, but he died. Very strange, very young.
He died young? How young was this money manager?
Probably 40 years old.
Did you think that was strange at the time?
I did, but I didn't know what was going on until now. I look back, I'm wondering. His name was Clarence Catallo. I loved him dearly, like a brother. I mean,
What county did Clarence Catallo die in?
I think it was Shearson Lehman, but don't hold me to it, because I can't remember.
Not the company. What county? What county?
Oh, Bloomfield Hills.
In Michigan.
Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Yes.
And he's buried there?
Oakland County, Michigan. The last I knew, he lived in a small town. He took over an old church and made it into a home for his family. And we went to visit him one time, and I remember back then, this was after he left from being my money manager, I used to say to Rick all the time, I want to go see Clarence. I want to go see Clarence. Where's Clarence? Why aren't we seeing Clarence anymore? And somehow we ended up at his house at a picnic after he redid this church in the middle of town. And I saw him then, and then soon after that, I saw him on a plane by accident as I was going on another trip. And soon after that, he was dead. And I have absolutely no idea what happened.
How long after you saw him at the picnic was he dead?
A couple of years.
Where is he buried?
In Michigan, as far as I know. He was
Do you-
straight Italian, so I don't know.
How do you spell his last name?
Catallo, but I can get that for you. I'm not sure.
Do you have his death certificate?
I don't.
Okay, that's all I needed to do for my research. So this is now, you're about 1980.
I'm in the 80s now.
Reagan's president.
Yes, Reagan's president.
You still have money in your trust.
I have money in my trust, but it's somewhere between $5 and $6 million, and I'm wondering why it's not growing like it should. And Rick comes to me and he goes, we're going to make an investment, a $600,000 investment into a light bulb company. And Fred agrees. And that's Fred at Payne Weber. Now we're at Payne Weber. And Con Chapman agrees. And stupid Debbie, she doesn't know anything. You know, I'm going, well, and no, this is a good investment, Debbie. And I'm raising 3 daughters by this time.
How old are your daughters now?
My daughters are in their teens, and then I've got Kelly, who's probably about 8.
And none of these children you have by Rick.
Just the last one, Kelly. My sweet Kelly.
So you had one child by Kelly and
By Rick. I have one child,
by Rick.
Kelly Ann, and then I have Allison and Alexis with my first husband, and they are 10 and 8 years older than Kelly. So here's Kelly, and she's, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, and the girls are in their teens.
$600,000 Rick wants you to invest in a new kind of light bulb company.
Exactly.
What kind of light bulb company was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, some light bulb that burned for much longer, like what we see today, but back then it was pretty new. So it made sense in a lot of ways, and plus the attorney, Conrad Chapman, said yes, and Fred Muirbach said absolutely. And, you know, I was raising my kids, busy taking care of a home, and I said, well, I wasn't real pleased about it. It sounded just awful. $600,000. Phew. I went, okay, whatever.
But you had $5 or $6 million, so this is like 10% of your total.
That's what they said. And this
That sounds like reasonable advice to me.
does sound like reasonable advice. So I did it. And then a few years later, I don't know, maybe 10 years later, Rick comes home one night and he goes, oh, all the money's gone. We lost it. I said, what? How could we lose $600,000? I said, the attorney and the money manager said that this was a great investment. I mean, I could see where it may not have been as good as they said, but how do you just lose it?
Did you ever see the stock title, the certificates of the stock? Did you ever see them, hold them in your hand?
I don't recall, honestly.
Well, thank you very much for this interview, Debbie. I appreciate you sitting out here in the cold in March, just after all this rain, and it must be 45 degrees here.
Yeah, it's cold. Colder than a nice cold day in Colorado where it's dry at 32.
Yes. Well, thank you for this interview, and I wish you luck on your book called God is With Us.
God's on our side, but the devil has control.
The devil has control. Well, this is William Wagner out here in the dark in Southern California, and it's not warm here at night. It's cold. Only the crickets and the frogs are happy. And I appreciate all of you that have watched this far to hear the sad tale of a millionairess who got her money legitimately from her father's and grandfather's efforts, had it all stolen, and I really think Payne Weber needs to do some checking on their people in Michigan. I know I'm going to check. I'm going to make some phone calls. You know, you too could call these people at this number you see on the screen. Call Payne Weber. See this number right here on the screen down below here? You see this number? You too could call. Hold. Can you zoom in on me just slowly? going to have to turn the camera a little bit. It might be tight. There. Are we ready? You two, you people watching, could call Payne Weber and say, what happened to the trust account of Deborah Breuner way back in the 1990s? What happened to $80 million? Why does Fred just get transferred to a different office? You can ask the questions, especially if you have stock with Payne Weber and you're trading stock with Payne Weber. I'm not accusing them yet. But remember, I'm the one that had asked Judge Barbara Beck some embarrassing questions, and she didn't even finish running for office, and she would have been automatically elected. I'm the one who said 3 months before the jury did, June 13th, 2005, I'm the one back in April 2nd of 2005 said Michael Jackson will walk free. They have no legitimate evidence whatsoever. And I didn't even like Michael Jackson at that time. I'm telling you, this story rings of truth. Now, proving it, trying to find an honest attorney like Tom Mesra or Susan Yu are like 1 in 100,000. And they're usually very busy and they want money up front. But you people, you could call Payne Weber at this number right here on the bottom of the screen. Ask for this name you see down here and ask him what happened to Debbie Breuner's trust account. Where did the $80 million go? It's up to you. Well, I'm William Wagner out here in the cold, and Deborah and her faithful long-term husband that stuck with her all these years, we're getting cold out here because they didn't have a car. They didn't have bus money. They couldn't even come to my studio. So I came down here, and all I ask you to do is make a simple phone call. And by the way, you might call a couple state bar associations and say, what the hell? I'm William Wagner for On Second Thought. Thanks for sticking with us.
Oh, thank God, Larry, that William finally came. I'm so excited. I think something good's going to happen. I just feel it.
Night, sweetie.
Night, sweet. Love you.
Love you more.